Decided to do a cute, fun video. So I'm going to share with you, hold on, my cat. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to give some advice that God has given me while I'm on this pastor girl journey. So I'm officially a pastor. It's actually hilarious, but we're not going to get into the deets. But I do want to share with you what God has shared with me so far. Sorry, I go on trails a lot. What God has shared with me so far as I'm building my ministry, I'm building Teeny Church. So I want to give this advice to my other girls who are building ministry on what God told me. So the first thing God told me is when you are called and when you're walking in these different positions, with God, you always want to know what is the very thing that he qualified you on. So one thing about God, he never has you out here wondering, trying to figure out what to do, what to say, how to say it. He's always going to let you know what your exact position is, what your mandate is, what your calling is, what you're going to be doing, and what is the very tool in your life that he used to qualify you for the position. It's very important that you know what qualifies you for this, because that's the same area the devil is going to try to disqualify you on. And before the devil can try to get to you, people are going to try to tell you that you're not qualified. But when you know the price you paid for the position in the area of where he wants you to be, to minister to people, to minister to the demographic of people he's chosen for you, there's no devil in hell that can stop you. So first thing you want to know is, what exactly is my calling? What's the purpose? Why was I chosen for this? And what was the thing in my life that you used to qualify me for this position? So always find out what God used to qualify you. Every person that God used, any type of favor or reason for their purpose, the very thing God called them in is the very thing the very thing that they were called in and they were qualified for is the very area that the devil attacks. Most people do not want to walk in their calling. They don't want to walk in their purpose because of the level of attack. And a lot of times some people you can't do God on your own terms. So a lot of times I see like a lot of people want to do things for God, but they want to do different areas. You have to go in the area that he called you, because you have to know what qualifies you, because the devil is going to attack you on that. And the area that God called you in, or the area that you're going to fulfill your purpose, a lot of people don't want to walk in it because there's always a contradiction. So God called me for teenagers. God called me for that area. What the devil does with me, he tries to attack me in my reproductive organs. It's his way of trying to discredit my voice. The very area that the devil attacks is, especially when you have the unfair attacks. Unfair attacks to me are attacks you had no choice in. You had no part to play in. You didn't have no say so in this. When you have those type of unfair attacks, usually that's the area that God is going to use you in. And so that's number one. Get with God. Whatever you're trying to do in ministry, whatever God called you into ministry, just always know, what is my qualifying factor? What is the giant or the issue or the opposition or the shame or the horrible story? What is that you're going to use, that we're going to build this platform on? God's going to give you your own voice, your own language that's going to be birthed from your qualification. Your qualification usually comes from pain and suffering. So but I ain't going to ruin it for you. The second thing, you cannot build a ministry on logic. You cannot build it on charisma, skill set. Everything you think you know, everything that you're good in, God's not going to use any of that. We always want to give God the best of who we are, but God uses the worst of parts of who we are, the parts that we're ashamed of, the parts that are inflamed, the parts that are sick. That's the area he's going to build the ministry in. He's not going to use your skill set. Now, your skill set and your gifts that you have received just through life and even through God with assisting with that, that's going to help advance and enhance it. But he's not going to build on a gift or build on a skill set. One of the things God told me was, Jamie, you cannot build this ministry on your own personal faith. You never want to build a ministry or a church on your own personal faith. You want to build your ministry and church based on the infrastructure God has given and designed for you. So for Teeny Church, it's not built on Jamie Seller's faith. Jamie Seller's faith is for Jamie Sellers. It's not built on Jamie Seller's faith. I'm just a vessel that he's using to build it. So when you are walking in a calling where God is going to use you as a vessel for the masses, you don't want this to be built on your personal faith. God said, you don't build it on your personal faith. I'm going to give you your spiritual governance and infrastructure. So long story short, that means your spiritual covering. So God has shown me how to build the root infrastructure of this ministry and how he wants it covered. So I'm personally covered under two ministries. One is an international ministry and one is a ministry that's in America. So I go with who God tells me. This has been a conversation God has had with me since 2023. Actually, when I went to Zanzibar for my 35th birthday, as soon as I got off the plane, the God told me, connect with this ministry. That's why I went covered under Teeny Church. So it's been a conversation we've had for a while. So you want to know who your spiritual covering is. You cannot select your own spiritual covering. God gave these ministers to me. And when God gave them to me, I said, they're not going to want to be bothered with me. But Teeny Church has spiritual covering, and you don't want to build it on your personal faith. I'm just a vessel. It's covered corporately and it's covered internationally. And what's hilarious, I covered Teeny Church with God internationally. I never imagined that I would have ministry in Africa. So, spiritual covering, spiritual governance, and he'll also tell you how your leadership and the infrastructure of the ministry is supposed to look like, because how you design it, it will be honored in the heavens. So that's the second thing God told me. Spiritual covering. Do not do anything in ministry if you do not have spiritual covering. That devil will take you off the scene. The reason why you want to have spiritual covering is because the attacks are going to come. The attacks, you're going to get all kind of attacks. They're going to come with the ministry. The devil's going to, everything that's good and everything that's God, the devil challenges it. So you want to have spiritual covering. Now, if you have spiritual covering, it doesn't mean you won't have attacks, but the severity of the attack won't be as intense because you have an infrastructure that's warring against a principality versus your own personal faith. So I see when God was sharing this to me, I actually had to get on the plane and go to Texas, and God dropped this on me. When God explained this to me, I was thinking to myself, I was looking at so many ministries that's built on the back of the leader's personal faith. You're going to get attacks, but it kind of like buffers it. So that's the second thing. Don't do nothing without spiritual covering. I don't care how good it is. If you do not have spiritual covering, that warfare is going to be too intense, because without that covering, you're pretty much warring with something on an individual basis. The devil never attacks you on an individual basis. When he attacks you individually, he's coming for your bloodline. He's coming for your inheritance. And when you step into ministry, he's not attacking you as a person doing ministry. He's attacking all the fruit that's supposed to come from the ministry. The devil attacks on possibility. So always have that in mind. Get built up. God even told me, he gave me a map of my spiritual governance and blueprint of how we're building this. Then he also gave me, this is for your corporate structure. Now this is for your personal faith. So I have churches that I'm involved in personally, and then I have my ministers that I'm involved in for my corporate ministry. Get with God. He'll spill the tea to stay covered. The third thing God told me. God told me, Jamie, the devil is attacking your priesthood. The Lord told me, he said, you keep thinking the devil's going to show up in the hospital, or the devil is the doctor. He said, the devil is trying to put his hands on your priesthood. And God told me, I was like, what? I was like, hold up. Let me look up my insurance policy. I have been prepping for war since I've been living in Raleigh. Best medical, live close to all the best hospitals. I keep in touch with all the best specialists in the area. God said, Jamie, listen to me. He's not really after your health. He's after your priesthood. God told me you do not. Okay, so let's talk about marriage real quick, right? I'm a single lady doing stuff in the pastor world. One of the things God said, you can marry whoever you want. You have free will. But God told me you cannot decide, because God gives us our own choice. We get free will. He's just hoping that we choose him. But God said you cannot marry on an individual basis. You cannot marry somebody just because they're sold on you. You can't be like, well, he fine, he cute, and everything like that. You can't marry based on that. You have to marry somebody that honors what you carry. And God told me, he said, that's one of the ways the devil is trying to attack your priesthood. He said, you're going to have to marry someone that honors with what you're carrying and what you're building. If you marry somebody on individual basis, your ministry will die when you die. It will not live beyond you. And he said, that's what the devil is attacking. And God was telling me he's tired of every generation starting from the same starting point. We have to leave spiritual real estate for the next generation. Write the books. Tell kids how to fight for their health. Tell kids how to fight for their emotional wellness. God told me you can do whatever you want, but I'm telling you, Jamie, he said, marry the man that's going to be able to honor what you carry and that you can birth your priesthood from. If you marry somebody on an individual basis, because honestly, the mentality I had was, and it really was because, all the medical stuff, like, I'm going to just give me a quick little husband real quick, do my church stuff, go home. God's like, you have to marry the person that can honor what you carry. So that's the advice I would give you. And then the cute thing, especially if you are a young single woman going into ministry, I don't know nothing about this territory, but when you're going into ministry, God told me the husband comes with the call. God told me he treat his pastors well. That's what he was telling me when I was coming home. He said, there's going to be crazy doors that's going to open up for you. Walk right through them. He said, I treat my pastors well. He said, the husband always comes with the call. If you are a single man into ministry, the wife always comes with the call. Don't wait to get married or wait till you get your spouse. If God is calling you to it, that means he has the provision for it. He has the covering for you. Just get with God and just build it slowly, even if it's imperfect, and God will actually lead your steps. So that's what God told me. He said your spouse comes with the call. The thing that I think that's cute about God, he's been telling me where to place my faith. God told me the husband's not going to be by faith. It's by your calling. So I'm going to just talk about this a little bit. So you can actually have faith fatigue. You can burn your faith to the ground because faith still needs grit and it still needs your participation. So God has been sharing with me, your kids, your husband is going to come with the call of building the ministry. Build my house and I'm going to take care of yours. So that's what God was telling me. I hope you got something from it. Build the ministry if you feel the call, even if you just want to do it. Don't worry about if you qualify. Don't worry about if you feel inadequate. God will qualify you. Just walk into it and tell your story. A lot of people I see online criticize this person's ministry, criticize that person's ministry. We don't really have the luxury of doing that. Get with God, start doing your stuff. He'll qualify you on the spot. He'll tell you do this, do that. God's not going to leave you out here. He's trying to reach people. Support other ministries, show love, be cute, be a baddie in every season. And just start building. God will give you instructions, insight. Be sensitive to it. Invite the Holy Spirit. My church is not built on my faith. It's being built solely off the Holy Spirit, and we're building the governance and the infrastructure of the ministry. And you'll be surprised what doors open up for you. Another thing. So I just left my pastor meeting, my training. I cannot believe that I'm being trained by the very best in ministry. So I'm just going to brag on God because it's all God. I don't believe in being low key, not when it comes to God. So I am I'm just shocked of the resources and the connections that God has given me for this ministry. So I was really encouraged in my pastor's meeting that I had last night. So, there's this big talk where a woman can't be a pastor, or God didn't call women into ministry. A woman can't do this, especially if she's single. Now, I want y'all out my DMs, though, because I'm not looking, even though I'm single. But for girls who are building their ministries, whether if it's online or if it's an on-site or you're building a church or you're building, you're financing your own building, my mentor told me, he was like, women can preach. When he said, you don't need to be distracted about what anyone has to say about you being a woman. He said, you minister from your spirit. God chose you. This is what you're doing. So walk in it and be cute. Be a baddie in every season, period. Just make sure you follow those 3 though. And make sure that, God will lead you. But anywho, and another thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to go because I got a lot of work to do. I have to build my church. But I will say, no matter what you go through in life, No matter what you go through in life, God will always make it up to you. If you just keep going, stay focused, and you forgive, and you let go, and you be cute, and you tell yourself, I'm not going to allow this to dictate who I'm going to be. My circumstances don't dictate the type of woman I'm going to be. This is not going to take my personality. It's not going to take my femininity. I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm going to get up every day and be cute. God will honor you. The doors God is opening up. I'm walking into doors I didn't pray for. I didn't even know this pastor role existed. I have a church in Africa. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that. And when I was in Zanzibar, because I saw so many of the kids in the village, like they didn't have floors in their house, they didn't have roofs. I was just thinking, I wish I could build a little chapel out here. So you just never know how God is going to use you. Don't be bitter. Don't be bitter. Stay soft. It's okay if you get broken, get a broken heart, you get sick, your feelings get hurt. That means you're normal. You're just going through life. Don't take anything personal. Don't make decisions out of your brokenness. Stay soft. Keep talking to God. I don't care what happens in your life. Don't ever stop talking to God. Try not to go a day without talking to God, even if it's 30 seconds. Make room for him. Be cute, even if you don't feel like it. Continue on. Continue on. But I'm not going to talk your head off. I just want to do a cute pastor video. Support God Sees You on Amazon. One purchase of this workbook, it guarantees another workbook will get sent out to Nigeria. So support it. And God is talking in this workbook. I wrote this in the way God was introduced to me. I used to be very, very insecure. I didn't think the Lord would listen to me. I'm like, all these problems in the world, the Lord does not have time for me. So I used to write letters to God. I used to document. I still have my prayer journals. This workbook. God is going to talk to you in it. When I was writing this, God was telling me and editing the chapters, and he like rested himself on me. So vibe with it, connect with it. Y'all be cute.